very, very proud to be at Ecobuild today, to launch a number of innovative products and ideas going forward. So not only are we showcasing our PV modules and products, but we're also introducing our commercial and retail LED lighting solutions, and also our battery storage solutions for going forward in the future.
Energy storage, is that a fairly new development for Sharp?
It is. We've recently launched it in Germany market, where there's actually incentive for storage solutions, and we're using this as a soft launch. Ecobuild is a soft launch for energy storage in the UK, gauging what the market's requirements are, with the hope of actually doing a firm launch early on in the summer.
Okay, so it's a kind of a pilot launch, is it, at the moment? Or
That's correct.
is there like a certain number of units you're hoping to launch in the first phase or anything like that?
No, we haven't put a specific number to it, but basically based on the growth that we've had in Germany, and we have something similar in the UK, it will be a good market.
So, and at the moment, are you targeting markets that, say, might have a program in place to enable people to save a bit of money on storage?
Not only that, I mean, it does help in countries where they do offer incentive, but storage itself makes economic sense if you look at the figures, depending on your system size and your own usage, in other countries where there aren't just incentives. So looking more at a sort of self-consumption model.
All right, well, that's my next question taken care of then. So it's the residential market.
Oh, very much so.
I mean, the storage, it's quite interesting to see that in America, I think Solar City are the first big company to have rolled out a storage product. And they've done a fairly low-key pilot launch, I think something like 300 units or something like that. But they've done it in the way that their leasing model works. The way that they have residential leasing models for their PV systems, they've carried that over into storage, as far as I gather. What kind of, how are you going to get the storage units from Sharp into people's homes?
We're fortunate enough already, we have a very good partnership with Hitachi Finance, and we already offer financial schemes to the consumer on our solar PV systems. We'll be rolling that out and including storage as part of that consumer finance package as well.
How about in Europe in general? What's Sharp's activities going to be like over the next year or so there?
And we've been very proactive in our approach to the residential market across all European countries, but a main focus really on our core countries such as Germany, Spain, and Benelux sort of region. And that has remained our core, and where we look to focus on our residential market and grow our solution of products, very much looking at energy solutions going forward.
There's been a couple of subsidy system programs have been phased out, and a couple have been kind of retroactively quite badly affected. Is that something that's affected Sharp, and has it meant a repurposing of the way that you approach the market in Europe?
No, I think at all stages, both in any of our renewable energy sort of solutions that we've offered, there's an embryonic market and a more mature market, and we're at different phases in each of those markets. And subsidies have played their parts, whether at the beginning, middle, and at end. And whereas at PV we're seeing a decline in the sort of feed-in tariff market, for example, in storage in Germany, we're now starting to see incentives come in. So it depends on the cycle where it is within that particular product range, that there becomes a natural sort of end to the sort of feed-in tariff, and hopefully the economies of scale that those feed-in tariffs have brought to that actual sector.
So I know that Sharp's basically been outsourcing a bit more of its manufacturing.
That's correct.
And there's been a couple of closures, Memphis factory and Wrexham in Wales.
I can talk about the Wrexham factory, yes. And we recently closed the closure of the Wrexham factory.
And Memphis is closing later this month, is that right?
I think that's what has been reported. And we are bringing in our stock from a more modern factory that we have in Sakai in Japan.
Okay. So most of the production's going to revert to being from out of Asia then?
For supply into Europe and from our factories in Japan.
So basically over the last couple of years, solar's been through a couple of bumpy times, and people coined the phrase solar coaster for the way the industry's gone up and down. But I think a lot of analysts have predicted, maybe coupled with things like movement in energy storage, predicted that 2014 is going to be somewhat of an upturn, and maybe even the return of a bit more R&D spending, things like that. How does Sharp see 2014 panning out for the solar industry?
I think you can already see that we're ahead of the game with the introduction of storage solutions and LED solutions. So certainly solar is very much part of that mix, but it's become part of a bigger sort of commercial entity which is out there, and renewable energy solutions is that. And going even further from there will be sort of smart solutions and home energy smart solutions and management systems. So HEMS and different sort of storages and the way they talk to each other will very much become part of our future.
Could you just tell quickly for a UK audience what kind of thing a HEMS system might entail for the homeowner and for the solar company?
Well, it's the ability for your different components in your house to be able to speak to each other. So your battery system to be able to speak to your solar PV and the grid to know when to charge, when not to charge, but also to speak to other components in your house, so your white goods, your washing machines and your fridges. So to come on and take energy from your battery when the tariffs are high for your washing machine. And the ability for your house to be able to think for itself on its energy usage, when it's best to use from store it and self-consumption, and when it's best to export to the grid and obtain the feed-in tariff.
I mean, is that something that Sharp are already looking at launching outside of Japan?
It's an embryonic thing, and it's something that we're looking at researching and developing for the various markets within where we operate.
I mean, HEMS has got potential to sort of kind of revolutionise the way people look at energy on a kind of individual basis. Do you think it's something that will catch on?
I think so. And look, it's a very big word, HEMS, and it can range anything from the sort of retail world to sort of the renewable energy world. And each market would have their own specific sort of HEMS at the moment. What the big thing will be is when it all comes together and everything talks to one another.
Yeah.
And yes, it's something that we have to be aware of as we go down that road. And I think not only ourselves, but many more companies will start to look towards that in the future.